Oh, we're live. We are live. Okay. You have to bear with me. I am still in the middle of changing a lot of things. So you can see behind me that the angles are different, got some different things we're going to put up on the wall behind me. But welcome to Beat the Banks. So hello to everybody. Sorry, we're a little bit of a late start. Had to get everything set up. Need to get my beacon polo. Oops, that doesn't look right. This is Beat the Banks. This is the free call from Beacon DeFi that we do every Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern. I'm Professor Chris, your host for today. We are live streaming to multiple spots today. So hello to all of our friends out on YouTube, on Twitter, on stream.tv. I don't even know if that's working, but I guess we'll find out in a little bit. But wanted to go through, and there's a lot of good questions actually in the community that I wanted to really address. And we're going to cover some questions specifically that were given by a couple of members that I wanted to answer specifically. So let me share my screen here on Zoom for anybody who's here locally. Okay. And everybody here in Tweeterland, do that. So this is our free group. It is called Total Value Locked, school.com/beacon. In the event that you want to join us, it's absolutely free to do so. Again, school.com/beacon. Join the many people who have joined us. We are now almost into our 13th month of existence as Total Value Locked from Beacon. So we'd love to have you join us. And in fact, a lot of the content for today's call is coming directly from these questions that we have here. So questions that have been asked for me before we go into our focus topic on retired vaults and moving money, which is something that if you're in the DeFi space, you're going to see a lot of specifically. So interesting, we just covered this on our mastermind accelerator call because two separate members asked about that, but we actually had Teresa here in the community also asking me the same thing. So Teresa, thanks for the questions specifically on that. Wanted to answer a couple different questions that are out here in the community. Again, school.com/beacon, absolutely free to join if you want to get started on your route into decentralized finance and learn more about how people are making money and great sources of passive income and moving forward to reach that generational transfer of wealth that we talk about here in this space. Let's see. So there was a question. Let me look at a couple questions. So people have asked about the ETH Denver experience. I'll just sum it up in a couple of sentences. So for those of you who are not aware of what I am talking about, ETH Denver, the largest hackathon for crypto and DeFi in the world. Normally happens at the end of February. It is one of the oldest, what we call hackathons. And a hackathon is basically the best way to describe a hackathon. I thought that was my screen. That's the background. Basically, you come up with an idea and programmers come and try and create solutions. That's essentially what a hackathon is. So I believe more than $1.5 million in bounties were up for grabs at this year's ETH Denver. And yeah, that's a huge number. In fact, I know multiple programmers whose career, is basically they go to these hackathons every year and they sign up for bounties, and that is the way that they make money. I know multiple college students who have come to many of these different events under hackathons, build really fun projects, and bring back a lot of money back to their blockchain club or just for themselves. So congratulations to everybody who came out. As you can see here, 95,000 plus attendees, 4,000 teams. Actually, this is from the entire list. I don't know if there was that many this past year, but we had multiple groups here. As you can see, all of these different sponsor groups. As you can see, there's tons of people here who are big names that are a part of specifically the hackathon, giving away new bounties, because this is where all of the really big projects are going to be next up, to be quite honest. When we're looking at what's going to be the next great uh, innovation coming in this space, it's going to come from something like ETH Denver. There are other events, of course. There's DevCon, there's ETHCC, there's ETH Global. There's a whole bunch of different events around the world that have hackathons specifically for solving problems. But ETH Denver is the best one for companies like us, right? We're an education company. We're not looking to hire. Rather, we're not looking to. We don't build software per se. We help onboard people into DeFi. So we have a relationship there where a lot of protocols look to us to help bring new users into the space so that they can essentially become community for a lot of these protocols, these new projects. So my goal, as you all know, I'm the with everything I do, I'm also the head of business development for Beacon. So my job is to go and find the alpha, find the partnerships. And we've done a lot of that over the last 2 years. Had a really great time in Denver this year. The one thing about Denver is that they do have their main event as well as their builder event, which goes from like the 23rd to the 26th. And the main event goes from the 26th all the way to, I believe it was March 2nd this year on Sunday, where they did the closing ceremony. During that whole time, a lot of these protocols, specifically sponsors and partners, they have their own events. They're called side events. There's official and unofficial with regards to ETH Denver. So we actually had a couple of unofficial side events. We actually set up shop in a coffee shop, I believe, on Wednesday, the 26th, and had some people roll through. Just kind of a way to just kind of meet people. There's multiple of those projects. There's also multiple of the official side events as well. Like Barachain, for example, sponsored multiple events, and going to those events are fun. For me, I prefer the daytime events because that's where you get to network. That's where you get to meet people. Normally, the nighttime events, if you go to one of these, they're mainly just for people who like to dance. They're normally at nightclubs, so there's obviously some drinking that's there. But overall, I prefer the daytime events where I can actually talk, ask questions, meet people. I met multiple people. I've my spreadsheet with who I met. I made more than 125 connections at this past ETH Denver, which is a lot for me. I was hoping to get more, but just didn't quite get there. But in any case, it's all about making connections with a lot of these companies. All these companies on the list I did meet, and I do have connections too in terms of meeting. And a lot of people love what Beacon does because they believe education is very important. So, but that's what we did at ETH Denver this year. Just a lot of going. Now you can go to the main event. There's going to be booths everywhere, with a lot of people manning booths, a lot of people talking about what they do. So I walked the floor quite a few days as well. Many people know about the swag. We do have some swag to give away as well. But it's all about meeting up with people. Beacon, as you know, is also it's also our spiritual home at ETH Denver. So we did have a member dinner, a partner member dinner, which was great. Had a good time meeting with members who came to Denver, as well as with some of our prospective partners that work with us. So it was really great to do that. Met with a lot of great protocols. You're going to see a lot of the fruits of that labor on future TVL shows and possibly on this call as well. As we, I made many connections. Many of them want to be introduced to our communities here. So you'll see me interview them, here on this show as well as on our Wednesday TVL podcast. So if you haven't checked out the TVL podcast, please check that out. It's one of our favorite shows that we do online team. So A couple of times a year we get to come together. We came together early to do a little bit of co-working because we don't always get to be in the same spot. So that was fun. We stayed in an Airbnb together, just kind of, hanging out, talking, sharing life stories, and working to make Beacon better. So great experience. Love doing it every year. Excited for the next one. Not sure exactly where that's going to be. We are eyeing BTC 2025 in Vegas. So if you plan on going into that event, let me know. And if we're there, we can certainly hang out, talk, that type of thing. Other questions asked. Let's see. Recommendation source for financial news. I think a couple people have mentioned that. Honestly, that's a fairly easy thing to Google. But to get thoughts on where they look for is always good. A lot of people are really, I guess, obviously the word is worried, but we seem to have popped back up, right? We're at 84.3. Let me just refresh. This is the most recent. 84.8. Looks like we are going to get close to 87 again, as I'd heard. And this is good news. The market seems to be coming back around. Inflation numbers came back a little bit lower, which is surprising, all things considering. The war coming to a temporary ceasefire, big news. Trade wars starting to figure themselves out, I guess would be the word to use there. Also good news. Hopefully it's overall bullish. Looks like equities and crypto are back on correlation. So for after some time of not being correlated, they seem to be following similar paths. So that could be a roadmap for you if you're looking to figure out where things will go next. But overall, the market seems to be heading back in the other direction. So oftentimes this is a situation about conviction in terms of what assets you're looking to hold for the next multiple amounts of years, and accumulating, doing your DCA strategy, we call dollar cost averaging. So if you're DCAing into coins like BTC and ETH, you don't really care about the price because your cost basis is going to be all over the place, to be quite honest. But you're just accumulating, and that's the key. Whether that be ETH, whether it be XRP, Sol, even something like Cardano, Doge, or Tron, or even something like Pi, which no idea what's going on with Pi. But there's a lot of people who are very interested in these things. So normally in the event that you see, like when you see these trends moving in certain directions, oftentimes you're trying to wonder what's the correlation. And like we look at crypto bubbles quite a bit, right? We do this on the Wednesday show. Looking at these numbers, whether they're daily, hourly, or weekly, there's normally a narrative that goes along with that. So whenever you see big moves, it's worth, especially if it's a high conviction hold for you, to look through and see through the noise and find out what's the real reason that these numbers are going up. Clearly, Ondo, you'll have to bear with me. I've been quite sick for the last 10 days. Ondo's been up and down quite a bit. So seeing them back on the up, at least on today, is a good sign. If we look at the week, it's a much different look, right? Oops, sorry. So you're really just trying to figure out, why are coins up? Why is Celestia up 10%? Why is Mantle up 3.3%? Why is Story Protocol, Story Blockchain, IP token, why is that up almost 27% on the week? I mean, there's answers to those questions. It's up to you to find the answers, and for the most part, interpret it in a way that works for your allocations, right? That's part of being in this space, being self-sufficient, understanding self-custody, and going through and figuring out what works best for what you're doing. Okay, let's talk about our focus topics. So for today, the focus topic that we got, and again, thanks to Teresa who asked the questions. She's very active in our community. She definitely is a champion of DeFi, and I love that. I hope that you also if you're watching our show, want to be a well-educated member of the DeFi or decentralized finance community or on-chain blockchain investing, if that's you and you haven't been to our community, please join us. Again, absolutely free, school.com/beacon. Her question came by two ways. The first is she found a retired pool, or rather, one of her positions is now retired. So, for example, we're here at Beefy Finance. One of our partners, a group that we really love and believe in. I'm a day one user of Beefy Finance back in a long time ago in 2020, and so with regards to what she's looking at, and again, mine won't show this, but when you pull it up in your dashboard, you click on my positions, you may see that your pool now is this brown background. And in particular, I believe this is the pool she was looking at. Let's see, Arbitrum. Well, there's a bunch here that are retired, but we'll start with Arbitrum. Let's say, for example, Venus has retired this USDT pool on Beefy. Generally, when you have a retired pool specifically on Beefy, Beefy is what we call a yield optimizer. And they put a vault on top of an existing vault, and they use a strength in numbers play to have TVL go in there, and then anyone who's in that vault will receive the benefits of doing so. Because the more people in a pool, especially with what Beefy does, is where they auto compound and grow your position for you automatically. The more that is in the vault, the more rewards that are coming back your way as a member of this vault, and that's the key. The strength in numbers play is always good in this case. So, in the event that a vault is retired, and normally these are done, I want to say they're done somewhat manually. I'd have to double check with core team, with EP or Gabriel, or anybody else there, is that Beefy has these manually harvesting once per day. People can manually kick off the process, but in the event that they go and they can't harvest, or that there are no more emissions, no more rewards coming through, now Beefy has to pay to harvest that with gas, and it's not worth it. So there'll probably be some type of trigger there that lets people know, hey, this is no longer emitting reward tokens. And in general, it's normally a quick process to retire that pool, because it's just not something you want to get into. With that said, the one thing about smart contracts is that when they're deployed, they are immutable. And what we mean by immutable means it cannot be modified. So if you are staking your funds in this smart contract, for example, for this USDT one, in the event that they just stop bringing rewards to it, nothing will happen to your funds, because they technically can't just go and yank them out if there's no ability to do so. And in general, to Beefy's credit, they normally don't do that. I'm sure they could work something in on the backside to make that happen, but they haven't done that. As you can see, there are multiple retired pools here that, oh gosh. Yeah, some of these have a lot of money in there. Like this one in particular, this ETH one, we talk about it quite a bit. In fact, if you're in our Total Value Lock community, this retired pool is most likely the one that most people will go into, that you can unlock it once you reach level 2. In terms of a guide on how to do it. So if you're in that situation and you want to get your money out, what do? Well, it's very simple. You just click on it, and it says this vault is retired. The underlying platform stopped rewarding. Before I answer how to get the money out, the question is that people ask, well, why would they stop rewarding it? These things just kind of happen. It comes from a protocol level. Maybe they have a new implementation of the ETH vault, various other reasons. One thing I will say is that if you are in a position, you're high conviction, you're in it for a long time, I would recommend you do join the Discord or the Discord Telegram for that group, because in general, they will put out information like this well before this thing gets retired. So to stay on top of it while you're monitoring, do that. Check out the Discord. Yes, they did stop rewarding, but they're not going to remove the funds. It's up to you as a user to remove your own funds. As you can see, there's more than $500,000 still in this vault. In fact, the vault itself still has 7.23 million. So it's not going anywhere. But it looks like it's a recent change because the last harvest was 16 days ago. Because they're not just going to, I mean, this could have been sitting here for a while and come back and forth, but one second. Okay. So, in order to withdraw the money, all you do is just come over here because you can't deposit any more funds into a retired vault, right? So you're just going to click on withdraw. Here under withdraw, Beefy has this wonderful function called the zap function. And basically what it is, it has a DEX built in to, the backside. So if you want to take your LP position and then either send it back out for just wrapped ETH, you can do that. You can send it out for R, anything that's listed here, it'll swap for automatically. Now, I will say, I would probably only take what I put in. You can do USDC, of course, if you prefer that. That's an option. I would probably just either stick with a stable coin or the asset that you brought in. If you want WBTC, for example, you can certainly do that. In fact, people who are in longer pools, they may decide to withdraw your asset and then take their profits in BTC. That's something you can absolutely do for any of the pools on Beefy. But there could be some slippage. There could be a difference in price oracles. May not get the best rate. It's up to you. Not financial advice. Do your own research, right? That's the one thing, of course. No, this is financial advice. But I love the zap function because it allows you to get whatever assets you like that's available here. And it will use their network of aggregators, their DEX aggregators, to find the best one. It's either going to be KyberSwap, 1inch, or I want to say OX. But you can see they change that a little bit. So just select the token you want to withdraw it in. For example, if I just want to get it back in wrapped ETH, and then if I had a position here, you just click 100%, click withdraw, and then you're out. Simple as that. Now, Beefy has made this very easy for the wide majority of these pools. There are some pools here where that is not easy. Balancer is by far that one, mainly because they don't allow, well, rather, Beefy and Balancer haven't come to an easy way to easily zap that out. So you'll get your LP tokens back, and then you'll have to go to Balancer themselves and then have that broken into whatever, like for example, you just actually have to just choose one of the three or a combination of three to withdraw to, but you'll have to do it on Balancer's platform, not here on Beefy. So you'll just withdraw your LP tokens. Now you'll have your LP tokens and you can go and redeem them however you want at Balancer, of course. And that's how that works. So not all the pools will have it. The majority of them will, unless it's a Balancer pool for sure. Older Curve pools as well. Like this one still has, 1.48 million in this TriCrypto. But this TriCrypto has been retired a long time, 2 years long, right? So if you withdraw, they do have the zap on this. Okay, cool. You can either do the LP, but you can withdraw to, any other asset here, whether it be here. And always the case for, Beefy on Curve zaps weren't always a thing. So you would always have to go back to Curve to break the liquidity and get that back into your wallet. So pretty straightforward, hopefully, if you're following along and you knew how to get in. So getting out is so simple, just going to withdraw and selecting the asset, and 100% you're good to go. Now, when it comes to other protocols, you're going to have to reach out to them individually. Some of them may not have them available. That's just kind of a fact of life, honestly. That's why you should be monitoring your stuff. If you just check weekly, you notice that one of your pools doesn't have rewards anymore all of a sudden, you should investigate why. You should. Very simple to do so. And that would be my guidance for you on that. With that said, because of the way that certain groups release smart contracts, that may or may not be something you can do. So understand that if a pool gets retired or if a pool doesn't exist anymore because they brought out a different pool, go check with them. Generally, the funds are still in the smart contract. They should be safe, and the underlying team should be able to withdraw that, get that money out for you. Should be able to. For those of you who know your stuff, you can certainly go through the Blockchain Explorer if you know the smart contract address and go through that way. But the large majority of you won't know how to do that, and it's fairly complex. So you'll want to reach out to the support team to get your money out. There you go. That's how you get your money out of a retired vault. Beefy makes it very easy. Not all of them do that, so just kind of keep that in mind. This is why we like Beefy, honestly, because they at least they keep the retired vaults around in a filter, so you can at least see and just make sure that if you have something there, you can get your money out. Okay. Moving money. Well, the question came from Teresa. If I want to move money in my Rabby, so this is our Rabby wallet. How do I do that? And basically, if I understand the question correctly, it's how do I go between these blockchains? And when it comes to blockchains, the only way you can move money between them, because we're not in a truly interoperable environment just yet, is to do so using a bridge. Now, bridges have their reputations, right? Actual mint lock and release bridges are some of the worst exploits ever in DeFi. I'm talking about the Ronin hack, their bridge, 600 million or something like that. Jump Capital, 329 ETH, like 329 million in ETH on Solana when Wormhole got exploited, and you had a bunch of unbacked tokens. That could have been really bad. So good on Jump for aiding that. We've had multiple other bridges throughout the past couple of years that have been hacked. Multi-chain, probably the worst. Phantom Opera crippled because of that, because for some reason half their assets were backed by multi-chain assets on Phantom Opera, which is why Sonic is now a thing. They were, of course, planning on doing that, I think, at some point, but that quickly accelerated pretty quickly. Sorry, my phone is just blowing up, so I'm just making sure something isn't wrong. It's just within a family chat, but in any case, let's go back to how we move money. You need a bridge. Now, there are two types of bridges. There are the older mint lock release bridge types. I'm trying to think of a decent one that's still around. Probably Seller and Synapse, I would probably say. We used to talk about Synapse all the time. synapseprotocol.com. And basically, you got to bridge from one blockchain to another. Oh wow, they have Hyper EVM. Good for them. And Unichain and WorldChain. And Clayton, which is now Kaya. So interesting. Anyway, you could certainly use a bridge like Synapse. Again, the only question, the thing that comes into question is the assets that are backing your crypto. If something were to happen to them through a mint lock release bridge, then those assets are no longer backed, and that's the problem. Now, the upgrade to bridges are what we call cross-chain swaps, and the leader of cross-chain swaps, the novel leader, in my opinion, is going to be Layer 0. Try to remember this website, Layer 0 network. And they have this whole thing about omni-chain. And at its core, Layer 0 is just a messaging protocol. They have multiple message relayers that are on multiple chains that literally just say, hey, take take this wallet address, debit this much from this account, and credit it that much on a different blockchain. Now, the beauty of this, on at least on EVM, the addresses are the same, right? My address here for my Rabby wallet on Ethereum blockchains is going to be the same regardless if I'm on the OX address will be the same regardless if I'm on Ethereum mainnet, if I'm on Arbitrum, if I'm on Base. As you can see, I'm on multiple blockchains here. Rabby is an EVM only wallet for now. So all of these are all Ethereum based or compatible chains, whether that be Mode, Kraken Inc., Unichain, Polygon, Phantom Sonic, Mantle, Base, OP, Rootstock, BOB, which is built on Bitcoin, or Say, and many others. Layer 0. It's the reason why it works well is because Layer 0 is connected to all these blockchains. It also has very deep liquidity pools. You all know that I'm a big proponent when you're going to be bridging that you only use either high conviction coins, but really I'm the biggest fan of just using native USDC because it has deep liquidity pools across multiple blockchains and it's just faster and it's cheaper, honestly. So if you're going to be using Layer 0, now Layer 0 is just a messaging protocol. They do have a liquidity protocol on top of it, and that's going to be at Stargate. Stargate.finance. And if you're going to be bridging, you'll be using their bridge, which is at stargate.finance/bridge. And you're going to be transferring between multiple blockchains in the Ethereum ecosystem. We start most people off at Arbitrum. So if we're going from Arbitrum to, let's say, Base. So if you need to move funds from Arbitrum to Base because you're on Beefy and suddenly, you want to get into a position, your funds are on Arbitrum, but suddenly you just do the quick stablecoin filter and you're like, oh my gosh, the best rates are on Sonic. The best rates are on OP mainnet. Or I don't see one for Base here, but Base would be the next choice. Wow, where's our stablecoins from Base going? There's one. That's not one I would choose, but it is what it is. In any case, you're going to have to bridge funds to that blockchain. Now, Phantom Sonic, I think, works here on Stargate. We can look here, and you're going to just want to search for Sonic. There it is. And then you have to choose an asset that you have to bridge it from one spot to another. You can certainly use ETH. That's what I have here as my gas token. For some reason, I have Pepe. Interesting. If you see this bus icon, that means that is going to be that's going to be the easiest as well as the most reliable way to do it because they're going to use either their fast taxi or their bus. And you have two options here, right? So let's just say that I had $100. Now, there are two ways to get there. You can get there in 40 seconds using the taxi, which is a single service where you are being bridged over. 12 cents for gas. Not that bad. But you can save on that, and it's going to take a little bit longer. This is really not that long. It's really not going to take this long. It'll be shorter than that. But you'll have to get on what's called a bus, where you will be sharing your transaction along with, up to 10 other occupants of the bus, quote unquote. Hopefully that makes sense. But you can either take your own Uber, you can share the ride. That's basically the example I would probably give here. And in most cases, the economy should be fine unless you're in a supreme hurry, which I don't think most of you should be, to be quite honest. You could take economy, but getting there faster, just as fast with that, is fine as well. Now, there are a couple other protocols that are built on top of Layer 0 besides Stargate. Stargate is the easiest because Stargate is actually a stable coin. They call it a stable farm. I wouldn't say it's a stable coin farm because they do have ETH and some other assets, but the goal at least to have as many deep liquidity pools as possible because this is what's powering the bridge. much like it's Synapse. Synapse also has pools where you can farm, and we farm them for a very long time across multiple blockchains because your granted the rates are pretty crap now, but they used to be really good. Up to like 13-15%, because your stablecoin plays were powering the bridge for people to bridge money back and forth. Stargate's the same way, although theirs is a little bit different because they have deep liquidity pools, and really you're just swapping between the USDT pool on Say and the USDT pool on Arbitrum. So that's why it's called a cross-chain swap, because Stargate has pools, deep pools, more than 6 million here, 6 million here. So in most cases, their size. In fact, Layer Zero's pools are even deeper than that, to be quite honest. This is just the V2 version. But they have a lot of money that you can use to do ETH, USDT, USDC, or bridged USDC, which is USDC.E. So that's the easy way to do it using Stargate. There's a couple easier ways, in my personal opinion. You could also use something like Synapse, Sushi, which is a day one old protocol. Sushi Swap is one of the oldest that are around. Now you can also do what's called a cross-chain swap, and it's built on top of Layer Zero. It uses Stargate in the background. And you can do a couple more assets, really, because Stargate only does those assets that are in the pools. You can actually be fairly flexible. You'll get a little bit of slippage issues, but oftentimes for me, when I'm looking to just top up gas on other blockchains, I'll just do a cross-chain swap. It's fast, it's simple, and it's easy to do. And I really don't need to spend a ton of money to do that with regards to topping up gas, maybe like $5 max. So it's an easy way to easily do that if you had to do that. But you can easily move money back and forth. But you can't just go on to a base pool if you have no funds there. You have to actually bridge money over to do so. I'll tell you the main one we recommend to our mastermind, and that's Jumper. It's from Lie.fi. Jumper has really found a really great niche in terms of being able to easily bridge between multiple blockchains. Does it to support all blockchains? No, but all the ones that we use, that we talk about all the time, are listed. So for example, if I'm going from Base to Berachain, I can Base, let's just choose, guess I don't have a whole lot here. I guess we'll just choose ETH. I mean, you can use it. I could use Arrow if I really wanted, because there's a cross-chain swap overall. And if I'm going to Berachain and I just need more USDC.E, I could just send $20 worth. Oh, less than that. And what's great about that is that Jumper is an aggregator, meaning it can use all types of different ways. It'll give you the best return, will give you the best amount, where you're going, or the fastest. Looks like Symbiosis, which is another cross-chain swap, is the fastest at 14 seconds. But if you don't care, Relay will get you the best return. I think Stargate looks to be better, but it's just the time. And that's a max time. It normally gets there much faster than that. I would probably just choose the Stargate here so I can maximize the amount. And that's economy mode. The fast mode will cost you a little bit more in gas, double the gas. But if you don't care about that, then that's not really an issue. You'll want to choose one of these as opposed to the best return, which is gas as well as speed and return. And that's it. If you're wanting to go from blockchain to blockchain, you're just going to have to use a bridge. I would recommend cross-chain swaps overall. There are some places where you can't really do that, but Jumper overall, I think, has just done a really fantastic job. Now, if you're coming from the Solana side, you'll want to, there's a bunch of different ones you can use. You could use Jumper for Solana. dBridge is also a great option. In the mastermind, I often tell the story about how I had a chance to mint Mad Lads. And I was going from, it was going to be, I don't know, it was like a $20 to $100 mint. I forgot what it was. Mad Lads is a really high valued NFT collection on Solana. Normally, if you hold a Mad Lad, much like a CryptoPunk or like a Bored Ape, a Milady, you actually get a lot of perks for doing so. And I went to Allbridge, which is generally a good bridge to use. It's allbridge.io. And you can go from an EVM chain to Solana. It says non-EVM chains, but for the most part, it's just Solana. Anyway, I put it in there, and it took 14 hours for my money to get there. I missed the mint. They minted out immediately, like within 30 minutes. And I missed out on an easy 100x because I couldn't do that, and that was pain because I knew how good they were going to be. So the fact from Arbitrum to Solana. Again, all you have to do is just choose Solana. Let's just say I just want Sol. Oh, whatever. Sure. I have to enter in my Solana address, but it'll get there. What's going on here? Anyway, I can get there in 1 second, which is, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Oh, and there's a fee there. That's the reason why. But still, the fact that I'd be able to get there in 1 second of a lot of EVM users' existence, and same with Sol. That it just was so fragmented. It was hard to move back and forth between each ecosystem. So the fact that you could do so, so easily. Now I can do it, in under a minute. That's just crazy. I would have made that mint, So that's where cross-chain bridges, and this is technically a cross-chain swap because they use some interesting tech behind the scenes for someone to take that trade for you. Yeah, cross-chain interoperability is a huge undertaking. It's going to be a huge narrative for the next couple of years. We're seeing more and more of these ecosystems where, like for example, on Optimism, they have the OP stack, right? Where you have all of these layer 2s that are built on top of layer 1 Ethereum, like Base, Mantle, Manta Pacific, Blast, Mode, Sonium, Inc. I'm not going to name all of them, but they're making it so that if you're within that ecosystem, everything is easy to get to. Easy. It doesn't matter which member of the chain you're on. That's there. Polygon's doing the same thing with their CDK, their chain development kit. Their aggregated layer is what they're calling it, their ag layer. And if you have just any inkling of any of the code there, like you're compatible with the CDK, then you can be part of any of the blockchains that are there. It's going to be easy just to move liquidity back and forth. That's the goal of the ag layer. Haven't seen a ton of movement on that, to be quite honest, since we talked to Polygon last year. I talked to their chief business officer at ETH-Denver in 2024, and they haven't really made a ton of progress on that. They're getting there. It's just going to be a little bit longer. And then, of course, Solana has its own thing, but Jupiter has JupNet they're building to try and make it so there's any blockchain, any liquidity, it's going to get better over time. It's just going to take some time to get there. So that's what we're looking at in the future. I'm really excited to see, what we're going to have. It's going to make it so that for the user, and again, for new users coming in order for them to get into DeFi, to understand things, they're going to need better user interface, right? A better UX, a better user experience. The truth is that, for a lot of people who come in here, we have the saying confusion equals money. Most people will look at what we're doing here, what we talk about every week, especially in our free trainings, are like, that sounds too confusing. I'm not going to do it. I'm like, that's fine. You don't have to. But guess what? The people that take the time to learn it, they're the ones making all the money, man. Simple as that. They're all the people who kind of give up and just kind of walk away. They're just leaving money on the fields with regards to opportunities, There's tons of it out there. I can tell you because I was at ETH Denver and I've seen all of it coming next, and it's really exciting. Is it just simple as snapping your fingers and it works for you? No, we're not there yet. I don't know how soon that's going to be, but it's not anytime soon. You're going to have to figure out how it all works, how to make it work, and how to move forward. And that is why we have Total Value Locked. Again, learn from the best in the business. Absolutely free. School.com/beacon. Learn the way we have. I mean, I've been in this space since 2019. I've been doing it full time as a career since 2021. We've helped tens of thousands of people figure it out, and tons of people are making great money without being here all the time. You know, all of our best members, they are off vacationing. They're off. You know, if they just don't love the market and they're just taking a break, they're still farming. That's the thing. The market may be like looking kind of crazy, but you can continue to farm. So don't panic. Just keep farming. It's easy to do. There are a lot of people who are holding leverage or holding margin, sweating. I like some trading platform. I'm like, why would you want to put yourself through that, honestly? Or they're hoping their bot goes through and arbs the right things. I'm like, you can do that, but why? Bots are great till they're not, right? If you watched our masterclass in Denver from the 27th, you know, it's the one thing I put out. It's like we've never really covered bots before. We decided to on this last one because it's kind of a necessity now, just because of how clogged everything gets. If you had a bot, you're able to execute trades or execute swaps, or you can actually do LPs now through bots. It's part of the meta moving forward, especially with AI agents and all of these things coming out. You're gonna have to figure out how to make these things work. But there's a lot of different ways to make money, but DeFi is still king, in my opinion. So just want to say thanks to everybody who's joining us today. Hopefully you got some good information. Oftentimes when we get to this call, I can talk about the latest and greatest, but oftentimes for most people, they don't know how to move forward. And again, you can check out our Start Here post. It's pinned here at the top. You get a message from myself and Andrew, and you can get to our 3 different paths that we have. I would recommend, if you're brand new, or even if you're not, and you're just trying to figure out how did we do it, go to Introduction to DeFi. This little module we have here is free for everybody. You get a full rundown here of how to make things work. And maybe because we have some bots in our group, it's shocking to me how many people come here, they say some things, and they don't ever look at this. And I'm like, why? I ask people all the time, well, how far have you gotten? Oh, I haven't really looked at anything. Why? It makes no sense to me. I mean, we've put all this together. This is years of experience, years of just free insight in here that you can take a look at and get into and start running here in DeFi. You know, if you want to get there faster, of course, you can join our Beacon Accelerator, or if you want to be at the best of the best, where you're getting the max value out of all of our industry partnerships, all the alpha we're finding, all the things I'm finding, then join our mastermind, because you get instant access to us through our Discord, get one-on-one coaching, you get the best community in all of DeFi, in my personal opinion, and everyone's winning. You gotta love it. Guys, that's all I had for you today, and we'll see you next week here, again, Fridays, 3 p.m. Eastern. Feel free to join us. You can also join our podcast, of course, TVL show, the Total Value Lock show, that is on Wednesdays, 1 p.m. Eastern. Simulcast here on our YouTube, Twitter, Stream TV, Twitch. Check it out, and would love for you to subscribe, to follow. We're definitely looking to get as many followers on YouTube as possible. So please, if you know anybody who could use this information, have them subscribe, have them get notified whenever we go live. We normally just do the Wednesday show on this live stream, but I'm starting to do the Friday show as well. So we're going to get more guests in. We have a lot of people who are very interested and chomping at the bit, I will say, to be on our Wednesday show. So we're going to have a lot of great guests from all over Web3, all over DeFi, all over GameFi NFTs, anything you can think of. We're going to be talking about all of it moving forward. Thanks to the great partnerships and connections that are coming out from not only Permissionless last October, but also through ETH Denver this year. And hope to see you guys at the next big show. And that's all we have for now. Have a great weekend. Go out there and find those gains and touch some grass. There's a huge storm coming through, by the way. Just wanted to, if you're in this bomb cyclone, it's pretty scary. I'm not going to lie. Be careful out there. Listen to your local authorities and live to fight another day. That said, we'll see you next time. I keep looking at this camera. It's this camera because I got a new setup here. Visually, it's going to get a lot better very soon. Take care. 07, beacons up, banks down. Take care, everybody. Have a great weekend.